That's no moon. It's Gentlemen Prefer Cinephiles, a movie podcast starring the lovely Erynn Mitchell.
These are getting more and more abstract. I don't even get them. Like, I don't even understand.
And I'm Charlie Moore. That one's like the easiest one to get.
Is it?
That's from the original Star Wars.
Oops.
So today we're talking about CGI. Is there a right or a wrong way?
Okay, I think this is gonna go one way.
There is a right way.
Charlie's gonna hate it.
I don't think that's true.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm really surprised. I'm excited.
Wow.
So Charlie, is there a right or a wrong way to use
Charlie,
CGI?
you hate everything. What do you think?
You just really don't like CGI, from what I've heard.
I think
always complain about it.
I think it's completely a matter of usage.
Yeah, it's
true.
true.
I think that.
Before we start, let's name some unknown like CGI where it's used but you don't think it is. The ping pong and the feather and Forrest Gump are CGI. That blew my mind.
Yeah, but that movie's terrible.
Okay, tell me some CGI.
I thought that The Shape of Water used a really good use of CGI.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
It was the egg timer with CGI. I'm just kidding.
Let's see. Some earlier CGI. I feel like the Spider-Man movies and Jurassic Park and the superheroes, Black Panther. I like.
So it's in a lot of things.
Oh, you know what? I like the original Tron, and I thought Tron Legacy had really good special effects too.
Too bad Tron Legacy was bad film.
I don't think it was a bad film.
Kidding.
So what do you want to talk about?
Well, I just wanted to mention that, like, I think there's just kind of, like, it's similar. I view people's perceptions of CGI as similar to people's perceptions on remakes. People tend to just take broad swipes at CGI and be like, oh, if CGI is used, I hate it, it's terrible, it's stupid, ugh. And I don't think...
Who said that?
A lot of people, a ton of people.
Give me names.
I mean, I could go down the list, but it would not be interesting in any way. But I don't think in any vein it's bad to just use CGI. I also don't think you lose... I think... Going back to is there a right or a wrong way, there's a right way to use CGI without losing the magic of something.
Yeah.
Like, I think... Like, going through the process of a computer engineer creating CGI, it's almost as interesting to me as watching a special effects person create a mini set to blow up. Like, it's as interesting to me. I'm fine with either, like, honestly. So I think, I don't necessarily think it loses magic, and it's not always bad to use CGI or that you lose something from filmmaking. Now, when you look at the Hobbit movies and, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to say the wrong, it's Ian McKellen crying about how he wants to act and he doesn't just want to be in front of a green screen. Now that I understand it losing a certain degree of magic. Does that make sense? Yeah,
I think you'd have to be without a lot of critical thought to think that just like the entirety of it would be bad.
Yeah.
Like it's clearly the way that you use it over everything else. Like the way that I see it, CGI is a tool for enhancement. So if you already have something and you want to extend out a set or you want to enhance a prop or use, larger like markers in the background so you can animate something over it, I'm all for that. I think that modern day usages of CGI have a lot of laziness to them where they pretty much don't really think about it all that much beforehand and they feel like they can manipulate everything afterwards, so there's not a lot of planning done to make it more integrated into what's actually happening. So a lot of the times it feels like people are just sort of standing around and they don't really see what's going on around them because the imagery was put in afterwards. So there's a disconnect there where I feel like the audience a lot of the times can get disconnected from the big spectacle because there's not really anything going on besides a lot of movement and color. So I feel like it's mostly about making you believe it more by using a lot more practical stuff that's augmented by CG and really, really illustrating exactly what's going on to the actors so they can react in the best possible way to make you believe it.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I stand on it. Like I'm a big fan of a lot of CGI spectacle movies that came out, like a few years ago. There's some good stuff out there.
Mm-hmm. And I also find that, like, certain people who I go to the movies with are really nitpicky about the CGI. I will say, like, maybe it's just me not being as observant in terms of, like, technical things, but I honestly don't notice, like, unless it's really, really bad, I don't notice, like, waxiness with CGI or, like, the rubbery kind of effect it gets. I don't notice bad things with CGI unless there's glaring issues in it, or unless, one, there's glaring issues, like the Bear and Chernobyl Diaries, like, I noticed how bad that was. Or if I'm looking for issues. Like, I have to be actively looking for bad CGI mistakes to notice them.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really like that. I kind of notice it no matter what, but, like, it bothers me more in some places than in other places. Like, I appreciate when I appreciate when there's a physical set there, and I appreciate when there's a lot of practical things for the actors to interact with. So I thought that while some of the CGI in Black Panther wasn't always great, especially, like, the rhinos, I felt that overall it did a really good job of integrating that stuff with, like, the real stuff. So
yeah, and, like, I remember one point of contention where we both had, like, one like instance where we both disagreed on the use of CGI. Now, just to preface, neither of us liked Rogue One.
yeah.
Neither of us really liked it that much. But I thought the Leia CGI at the end was really well done, and Charlie did not like it.
No,
Is that correct?
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
I thought that Tarkin and her both looked gross.
Why? I'm just interested because I didn't notice a difference. Like, I didn't process a difference. Like, what made you not like it?
So it felt like their skin looked too much like wax to me. It bothered me that they didn't just try to recast them as somebody else. Instead, they spent so much money trying to get it right. But then, of course, all sorts of things were wrong, like the mouth movement and everything. Like, it just didn't, it didn't look natural to me because it just sort of stuck out because everything else was not to that degree.
So you're saying it's kind of still in the uncanny valley?
Yeah, that's pretty much where it always gets me. Where it's like I almost prefer things be a little bit clunkier, but more pleasing visually than have something try to be as realistic looking as possible, because I find that they fall so short that it just sort of, it bugs me even more because I'm just like the little twitches, they just get me all up in my head where I'm distracted from what's actually going on in the movie.
Well, I'm just really interested because I know, do you like I think claymation sometimes to me has, like,
Oh man, I love it.
I hate it most of the time. Like, the one instance I want to bring up is the Ghostbusters. Like, the Ghostbusters claymation, the dog or whatever, the, like, dog creature at the end.
Yeah.
It looks terrible.
I love them.
It looks awful. So what is the difference between, and I think it's very clunky. Like, what's the difference between, like, something like clunky claymation where it's like a physical thing versus clunky CGI? Like, where do you draw the line?
Well, I like the texture of clay a lot more. I like how much thought has to be put into claymation on, like, a millisecond to millisecond basis so they can animate it correctly. Like, they have to take 18 or 24 pictures for every second of film that the animals are used. Like, I always find it just to be an interesting feat of artistry because it takes a lot of, like, the personal time into it, but especially because I just feel like the textures you get out of it, it's so tactile because it's something that's really being photographed, so it feels like you could really, touch it and kind of, it's got a lot more of a presence than something that just isn't there at all, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have a quick question. Is illumination, computer generated animation?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I wanted to discuss animation in terms of CGI as well, because I think there are certain companies and people who cut corners and it looks bad.
Yeah.
Namely Illumination.
Yeah.
They pride themselves on operating at the lowest cost model possible, but the thing about priding yourself on that, like, I would be more impressed if it was good.
Ouch.
Watch Sing for 5 minutes. The mouse don't sync up. It's the same character model in the frame, like every single instance. Every single shot in Sing has either a reused character animation or one that is going to be reused. It's ridiculous. It is really sad. And I think that's an example of computer generated imagery cutting corners and creating a lesser cinematic experience.
Yeah, I would bring that up, especially for like Jurassic World. I know one of the things that made me really turned off to it, which is why I didn't go see it, was because of the CGI in it. It looked really gummy and really loose. Like, it didn't feel like there was a lot of weight to what was actually going on, and it was just sort of like, it felt so cartoony to the point that it felt like I couldn't get over the fact that the dinosaurs moved around in such a fluid way that it didn't even look like they had bones or anything like that. Because to me, the golden example of using like a huge amount of extra work to make sure that something looked good is the original Jurassic Park. Because they had Phil Tippett actually manipulate a small robotic armature in order to get like stop motion animated movements for the dinosaurs just to start off with. But they also studied giraffes, elephants, the bones of animals and stuff like that, so they could have the best representation of natural movement possible. And I think that even though a lot of the textures don't hold up in Jurassic Park, the animation really does, because it feels like they put in so much effort into making it look like naturalistic movement that it worked really well. And my problem with a lot of newer movies is it feels like with so many personnel and so much information and so much animation going on with the rendering of everything, and so much more computers needing to be used in order to have this higher quality look, the HD, so much more texturing and lighting and all this sort of thing. It feels like a lot of corners are being cut on a smaller scale like that, like what Illumination does, in order to be more cost effective, and in order to put it all together. You know, movie studios use like 20 to 30 animation studios just on different shots, just so they can, you know, it doesn't.
So it can be the highest quality, and it can be
no,
like
it's not like that.
What?
No, it's not like that. It's
Don't
not
be
so it's
so
the highest.
upset.
It's not like the highest quality. It's like
like, whoa, calm down.
I'm not being
Continue your
upset.
thought.
I'm just saying that it's only to keep costs down. You know, it's very outsourced, and they really shut down like so many different CGI studios in Hollywood because they don't get paid enough for the work that they do, and they always go bankrupt when it comes to
the
these
big
small
example
ones.
is Life of Pi.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was messed up.
So all I'm saying is it feels like a lot of the studios they have like sort of, they use a lot of stock stuff instead, and they don't care as much about capturing like a weight. Instead, it's more about just like doing the image the way it's just like Blanket described. Like, this happens, something blows up, something moves.
No,
and
or
they
you
do
could
it.
even have like a Michael Bay effect where like he reuses the skins of other shots in films, and then he just throws them into like his newer films. Like, he's reused like computer generated like skins and like shots. Like, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. There's this one instance. Let me look it up really quick. Just a second, everybody. Yeah, okay, so, like, Michael Bay, like, it's a common thing to reuse footage in films. Like, it happens a lot. But Michael Bay reuses computer-generated images. He used it in Pearl Harbor and then across to Transformers. And I think it almost creates a lackluster film experience. And it's really sad that it's used to cut corners in that way. Because, I mean, with cinema, like, wouldn't you want to just make the best product ever? Like, why would you want to cut corners aside from, like, stupid reasons like money, you know? What do you have to say about that?
Stupid reasons like money. I agree with that, but I feel that because
I get it, film's a business.
the
it should
entire
make money,
industry
blah,
is
blah.
built upon money, I feel like that's literally the only thing that they care about.
I've said this tons of times before. Like, the issue is not that films need to make money. The issue is the thought process, more than likely, in more cases than not, like, should be, I really want to make this film, how can I fund it? It should not be, I really want to make money, how can I make a film to do that? Like...
Yeah, but the people that give the money to make movies are trying to make money.
Yeah, and I understand that. I understand that give and take, and it's fine. It's a part of our society. It's a give and take, but that doesn't mean you have to cut corners. Like, I mean,
I think it's
even
more of a
David
take and
Lynch
take.
said you should approach a project the same, whether or not you're trying to make money, you're not making money, you have a big budget, you have a low budget. Like, it's...
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, you're not going to have as much control over a project when it's a much higher stakes thing like that, where people are expecting a lot of returns. They're going to do a lot more things to make sure that it's a crowd pleaser, or try to hit the demographics in a way to make money. And I think that it is kind of a detriment to the form that the overall concern is with that, instead of trying to make a product trying to make something that isn't just a product, but is something that people can connect to as art. But it just feels like it's become such a difficult thing to do nowadays because of all the money coming in and out of that industry is from that perspective of just complete product integration.
I'm not discussing, like,
I know
that's what it is.
I know.
I'm
I was
discussing
just
what it
saying.
should be.
I was just saying that I didn't like it.
Okay, cool. I was just making sure because I understand that aspect, and I'm not discussing whether or not what it is. I'm not discussing, like, what it should be, and especially with regards to CGI. Like, CGI is a huge counterpoint in that discussion. I think, you know. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Why getting quiet?
Well, why not?
So what else do you have to say about CGI, Charlie? Charl?
Look, just do whatever you want, but make a good story with good characters. I'm really tired of being bored by everything.
I mean, things can look really good, but if the story sucks, like, if there's no story and the story sucks, like, there's no point to something looking really good.
I just feel like the studios are starting to get complacent with their work. And you gotta try harder. You gotta try harder, Universal. You gotta try harder, DC. Even you, Marvel. You all gotta try harder, because the people aren't gonna stick around forever if you're just making the same thing over and over again.
No, 100%.
And if you just keep using the same look to everything, the same look to all your CGI, it's just gonna be the same deal. So this is insider tip. People don't like the same thing forever. Pro tip, Hollywood.
Yes. So what do you guys think about CGI? Do you hate it? Do you like it? Do you like any instances of it? What do you think CGI's place in the industry should be?
Please tell us why we're wrong on every account.
Tell us.
You can find us here on YouTube,
on iTunes,
Instagram,
and Facebook,
and our website,
gentlemenforcinephiles.net.
We'll
see you guys next time.
Oh, no, the computer, it's taking control of me.
Oh my god.
It's telling all computer-generated effects are good. Trust your computers.
Computers are the way.
We will never turn on you.